saying they stomping on their feet. You see our youth coming into my office having a rep session with me, letting me know, did you keep a promise of the list I gave you? And I was able to call that back to Sister Freon and also Sister Nikita. And they said, well, we just want to make sure you got our list. But their hearts is about, we want to be a part of the church too. And also, after meeting with the mothers this week, met with 3 of the officers, and they had shared with me about the young women that they have up under their tutelage and being mentors to them. And I was speaking with Sister Nikita and also Sister Brianna, saying, make sure you tell your fellow sisters to reach out back to the mothers, because they're waiting just to be those inspirations they need to be to these young women. But I was just so excited about our Deaconess Smith, and I'm assuming that was her son, Michael Smith, that was here. I love that name. And I saw Deacon Smith back there when they mentioned about his wife and she being married to a Navy man. He tried to be sly with it, but he was showing all 30 whatever he has. Just glad to know that his wife is being recognized. But I want to thank God for some of the faces we see today. That I'm glad to see Brother Paul Lockhart. We've been praying for him. He came forth and just said, Pastor, you know who I am? And I said, Brother Paul, he was saying the same time I was. And just the fact that it's just glad to have our brother in the house here. Sister Todd said she was trying to get here because Brother Todd was keeping them in your prayers, and she said, I want to come to church. But, it's hard to get someone to attend to someone on a Sunday. But I see Sister Todd is right here, and she's giving God the praise. We want to thank our new friend, Sister Cecilia. We see that you are here in the house today, and thank God for you. But Sister Toya, we see you, and we see a couple ones that have come from Christian for Change, Mother McBride and Mother Pat Hart. You see how loving Antioch is? They just come on in and blend with them. Yeah. But today is a special day. It's a special day because of the fact this is a Sunday that we would never be able to have again. It's a special Sunday because of the fact this may be our last time. I don't know. But in the midst of it all, we still give God the praise. As I was loving on members like you were too, there were those members that prayed for me, my back, my knees, my foot, my this and that, my eye. It just lets you know we all got something going on. Yeah. It started with me this morning. I just woke up and I was just excited about coming to the house of the Lord. As Sister Patricia and I was driving up, and I thought about one of these stories that I want to share with you. And I'm going to trust little brother Tyson Walton just to keep me lifted up. Because Tyson, when you see him, he does this. Everything becomes explosive. Today we're about everything that God does is explosive.
Yes, I hear you.
But last week we were studying and we were talking about part 1. We got a 4 Sunday series. So before we go in that series, and before I go any further, let us pray. Heavenly Father, God Almighty, our rock in the weary land, shelter in the time of a storm, to our wheel in the middle of the wheel. God, you know what we need. God, you know I need thee right now. I ask that your children's ears and hearts be open. I ask the voice that be spoken through me be yours. God, we're trusting you today. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. So it's been asked. So it's been heard, it's been received, and our God has been done. In your mighty name we pray. Amen. Amen. As I was saying earlier, in reference to starting out when Sister Patricia and I drove up this morning, we saw this brother. And this brother was walking, and we said, he may be going to our church. He was halfway, midway up the fence area. Looked around, and it was Brother Anthony Allen Anthony Wallace. And he had his robe, I think, in his hand. So I was saying to myself, I know it's not baptism day. I didn't know who he was at first, but he was moving. And as he was moving, he had a mission. And that mission was to get here on time. I thought about the little girl that was on a mission going to church. She was busy because she had gotten dressed in her Sunday best and she couldn't wait till her friends would get a chance to look at her attire. She was headed to, they called it Bible school, we call it Sunday school. But she was running and saying, don't let me be late, don't let me be late. People were seeing her moving so quickly, don't let me be late. They said she was moving so fast, then she tripped. And her dress was torn and it was muddy. They said she got up and brushed herself off. And she started praying to God again and said, don't let me be late, don't let me be late, but also don't trip me again. But her mission still was to get to Sunday school on time. We have a mission. You remember that our series is Mission Impossible. Fear something to marching in our faith. Last week was fear. This week is courage. I'm going to ask that you would please stand and turn to the book of Hebrews, the 13th chapter, verses 1 through 6. Hebrews, the 13th chapter, verses 1 through 6. And we do want to remember Deacon, right? I say that for this time. He just asked you all keep him in your prayers. He's under the weather. But I thank God for those that work with him, Deacon Matt and Joshua. I want to thank God for them being right on point. And if you have Hebrews, the 13th chapter, verses 1 through 6, please say amen. Amen. And if you need a second, it's okay to say, please wait on me. That took courage to say that. Somebody said it. Took courage. We all don't get to the page at the same time. So it's okay to give you a second to get there. Because once we're in there, we're in there. All right. Hebrews, 13th chapter, verses 1 through 6. Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Remember them that are in bonds, and as bound with them, and them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body. Marriage is honorable in all, and the bed undefiled. But whoremongers and adulterers, God will judge. Let your conversation be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. But this is what we're going to grab hold to in verse 6. So that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper. I will not fear what man shall do unto me. You may have a seat. How many last week, and I don't have to see a show of hands, felt good last Sunday when we were stomping on the devil? Stomping on that fear. Some made commitments that Sunday, said, you know what, I'm going to take that trip I've been holding off on because I was afraid to get into an airplane. There are those that probably said too, you know what, I'm not going to be afraid anymore to do what I need to do. Yeah. There are those that made commitment with themselves, but about here. That was a good exercise where we stuck.
Yeah.
But what happens when it's time to put that exercise into use? You know how we are with resolutions. We promise every year we're going to commit not to do this and that. How long does it last? You find yourself saying, I'll do better next year. We're so energized by life and energized by opportunities. We're energized by the newness of everything. But what happens when everything's settled down or settled in? You know, that new car that smells so good. There's nothing like the smell of a new car or a new baby. After a while, we drive in that car, we say, we'll never eat in that car. Nobody can eat in my car. We'll say that. Because we want to keep that fresh smell. And then all of a sudden, you make a stop wherever and you start eating in your car.
All right.
And then you find yourself where the smell is no longer new. I remember being a father of a newborn. My son exactly when he first came home, and Sister Smith, as we were leaving the hospital, and I looked at that baby, and I was trying to make sure the car seat was right, making sure this was in order. But God knew. We didn't know what to do as parents in this. I just knew that he knew his mama and knew he needed his mama, and hoping that he would know his daddy was there too. But it was great when it came down to smelling that newness on the baby. Then all of a sudden that smell is gone. Then we go back the second time because we want to smell that once again with our son Caleb. But after that time, we knew the smell was forever gone. But in our lives, we find this word courage. What I love about the book of Hebrews, the authors are known. They say it sounds a little like Paul, but then John and then Apollos, they didn't know who to credit to. But one thing they knew about the book of Hebrews is a book about resting life. Faith, resting life. It's about these Christians this new birth of Christians, the new church. It's about them being up under persecution.
Yeah.
It's about Jesus is gone now. And it's about falling to the wayside.
Yeah.
It is about having courage in knowing that God has not failed you.
Yes.
Yes.
The book of Hebrews causes you to remember who God is. You ask me, why did I give you this particular reading when we're talking about the defiling of the marriage or the bed, and we're talking about lifestyle, and we're talking about principles and morals? Encourage are three principles I want us to touch on today. One of those principles is about physical courage. The second one is about moral courage. And the third one is about emotional courage.
Yes.
The word courage comes from the Latin word in reference to cor, which means heart. But they stated that it was even more than just that. It was also where the fact that one's heart is able to tell one's life. When we deal with courage, we are dealing with the heart. But it's also working with the mind. How's your courage level? We as a church body, we have to have courage, do we not?
Yes.
Do you realize every time you walk through that door, it calls for courage? As Reverend Harden got up here today and she was presiding, it takes courage to stand up there. It takes courage, but it also takes dependency on God. Because if Reverend Harden would have stood up here for herself, then everything would have been to the wayside. But when you have a worship leader that comes in praising God, it will ricochet Because the deacons had already set up the platform.
Amen.
They came boldly singing praises to God.
Yes.
But it still would not have been complete without your presence. We gain strength one from another. Courage has to come after fear.
Amen.
Fear has to have its place with you. Because courage what consumes that fear from overcharging you. You know, we all are scared at times. Even when we stomp the devil, even when we say we're not letting that get us anymore, we find ourselves sometimes going back to that same well and realizing it's trying to consume us again. The way courage comes is that you have to constantly remind yourself, I can't do this alone. Constantly reminding yourself that it is God who has control.
Yeah.
You ask about courage. It was Nelson Mandela who said, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but triumph over it. And he goes on to say, the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers fear.
Yeah.
Fear has to be conquered.
Oh, yes.
Somebody right now next to you have kicked their fears aside. But then the other one on the side of you is battling with how do I let go of my fear?
Yes.
There's the physical courage. You know, those that can cause harm and danger to you. Those that can outfish you. Those that can outtalk you. Those that intimidate you because you allow that door of intimidation to be open. Those that will tell you, I got your back. You remember growing up and those youth now, your friends like the edge on the fight? And they're edging on and say, I got you. Don't worry about it. The next thing you know, there's a fight and they're sliding to the side. And when you go down, they say, you went the wrong way. I was waiting to catch you.
Yeah.
In our lives, we find those physical obstacles. Sometimes it's a handicap. Physically, spiritually, we'll find a handicap that will keep us from even thinking we can be victorious. That comes because of the fact we have allowed our minds again to be open to the impossibilities. It was David who faced Goliath, and when he did, everybody else was falling to the wayside. And it's almost like that song, you don't know Jesus or God, what's wrong with you? You don't know what God can do, what's wrong with you? You don't know that even if you're facing a giant, God will cause that giant to fall even harder when he does what he has to do.
Say that.
And this is about us and our journey in reference to fear being cast aside and also having the courage to move forward what God has for us. Having the courage to know that God is working through you individually and he's working with you collectively. If you didn't pay attention to our marquees, the saying we had for 2 months was said, come as you are. Well, we've been saying come as you are. We had to have a continuation. And it talks about spiritual cleansing. It starts on the inside. So you had to catch it. It means come on into the church and get your spiritual cleansing.
All right. I hear you.
Courage is needed because without God, we will fail. It was Michael Hyatt, a CEO and the publisher of Thomas Nelson Publishing Company. He said, courage is the willingness, and he holds on to it, is the act in spite of your fears. No matter if I'm scared, I'm going to do this. Something happened downstairs as the ministers were putting on their robes. Deacon Turner, and I'm sure your dad, somewhere along the way, he looks down and he probably never thought just to see the continuation, but he also did think that God was going to provide. And as we were putting on our robes, we were like school children. We all said, you look good. You look good. I look good. We're good.
You look good.
Thank you so much. But we also realized something that Reverend Harden said of us. We're on one accord. Courage causes you even when you're scared physically.
Yeah.
To stand up and know that God is holding you. Courage also requires you to stop feeding what you've been feeding to yourselves. Our lives are not perfect pictures. I don't care how perfect we look on the outside. We all have something going on the inside. If it's not this, then it's that. It's either or. But we know that we need the Lord.
Yes, sir.
You think about Peter and John,
Well.
their physical courage. When they were on the run, they knew their lives were at stake. But what I love about them in the book of Acts, even when they faced their challenges, they stood up. They didn't waver about the Lord. They even had their enemies scratching their heads saying, these must be men from God. They scratched their head because God will call those physical here against you to scratch their head and say, there's no way. They should have came out of this because I strategically tried to block them. But you tell me what God has for you. It is for you. Whereas Brother John Cherry is not for Michael Anthony Smith. If I try to get his blessing, I'm going to miss out on my own blessing.
That's right.
In our lives, we cradle to what has been, and we forget to look at what will be.
Come on, Pastor.
But that causes courage.
Yes.
Courage.
You have to believe beyond the physical appearance. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what it smells like. I don't care what it tastes like. I know that my God will provide.
Oh, yes, he will. Oh, hallelujah.
That physical courage will cause you to be broken. That's when that body's not working like it used to. Even if you had something going on today, it took courage to say, I'm going to get out of this bed. I'm not going to miss my blessing today. I'm going to church no matter what. What you just did, you stuffed the devil with courage. But what do you do with the moral courage? That moral courage which tells you right from wrong. That moral courage when you're up under a situation, you've been scandalized. You've been kicked to the side. You've been done everything that possibly be done to you. You've been broken. But you stood up for what was right. What do you do when those you once laughed with all of a sudden stop speaking to you? What do you do with those that said, I'm your right hand man and your uphill girl? And then when life cannot be found. It takes a moral courage to say, I'm going to stand up. No matter who come at me. I'm going to stand up. Because if I sit down, then I'm truly broken. I'm going to be what God wants me to be. Because God's word is true. When we find ourselves in a situation, do I do this for a better pay? Do I do this to be in with the boys?
Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Do I stand up when I know that that's not right? It will cause you to question yourself. If you know there's a decision need to be made and you go home and you can't sleep at night, somebody's telling you better get it right. If you find yourself that I'm not going to lie for my children no matter what, if you're wrong, you're wrong. If you're going to say I'm not going to say something just to make my wife feel good, the average man says, you're stupid. But if you're wrong, you have to call us out as being wrong. Moral values in the sense that it says that are you willing to sacrifice yourself for others?
All right.
We go through the pipeline of history. There were so many that sacrificed themselves for others. Have you ever had to stand up and have the courage to say, that's not right? You ever had the courage to say, I'm not going to do this? Has someone ever told you that you're wrong? Has someone ever told you, get the moral courage you need? We all come short of the glory of God. But we can't use as an excuse to come short of the same errors that we're coming short in. That moral courage calls out the best in us. For it was Luke chapter 6 verses 27 through 28 that says, but I say to you here, love your enemy. Do good to those who hate you. And bless those who curse you. And pray for those who mistreat you. I gotta love them anyway. If you love God, you gotta love your brothers. I gotta love that person that has stood in my way of being successful. I gotta love that person that took me down. I gotta love that person who waited on my table and didn't give me the best of service. I gotta love that neighbor that's always in my business and lurking out and seeing what's going on in my house. I gotta love that sister in church and that brother who touch elbows with me but then don't speak to me. I gotta love that young man who was disrespectful to me as an adult. I gotta love that young lady who has no respect for herself.
Have mercy.
But what about you when you are the one that they're talking about? How do they love you?
Come on.
Say
We
it.
have to learn to love one another. But in loving one another, we gotta keep on stumping that fear out of us. We gotta stump it out because of the fact it is trying to retrieve you once again. But he's an on-time God. Yes, he is. We're coming to the emotional courage. You know what the emotional courage is? That's when you're so afraid everything is working working in that mind. It has you going to and fro. It has you caught in the middle. It has you doing about face. You don't even know why you're doing it. It's that fear that says I have an excuse not to do because of that fear. But I think about a special mother. All these mothers are special. But I think about Mother Ernestine Smith. When she comes down that walkway from Target, from where she resides, in her scooter, and she's moving about, she's on a mission to get to Antioch, East Africa. I want to share a great mission about this mother. I have time to talk to all the mothers, and they know they're special, but it's this purpose right there, and it serves this purpose. She came one Wednesday, but no, it was Tuesday. Came to see Sister Teresa and I. She was moving along in her scooter. She got here, and Brother Harold let her in. And as we were talking to her, she had her groceries on the back of a scooter. But she had to make it to Antioch East. Now, the average person would have said, I got to drop my groceries off before I go to church. But she was on a mission to get to church. I don't know what she swung in and out of her bag, but I know she managed everything. I always forget this, while God is sending them our way, He's working on us so we'll be ready for that day. Not just how God works. But I want to share a story with you. I don't know if it's this road got me moving all around or what. But I'm just glad to know that God is good. Yesterday I had a chance to look at Football Life, the NFL documentaries. Sister Patricia and I was watching Brother Curtis Martin. The fourth leading rusher in football NFL history. He came into the pros in 1995, drafted in the third round. He wasn't in the first round, the third round. I also look at that, one for the Father, one for the Son, and one for the Holy Spirit. In the third round. All right. He gets there, and we find him being drafted in 1995. In 2012, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. You say, all right, but you know more story. In our lives, we each have a story. We're intertwined in every way. Be careful how you treat people. Today, Sister Miriam Clark, as I was going around shaking hands and we were greeting our visitors, she said, this is my girlfriend. Took pride, had courage to stand up and say, this is my girlfriend that's with me. I said, wait a minute, I've seen this lady before. The last day at Christian for Change, before I came to Antioch East Baptist Church, they had a Christmas program. She was one of the opera singers.
All right.
That was singing. And boy, my wife and I was taken away. But what I loved about her courage, it was so graceful. You would have never known what she could do. She got up there, she and her counterpart sung in two different languages at the same time, watching God move. That took courage. Yes. Especially when someone else is speaking one language and the other is speaking another besides English, and you're trying to stay and sing. But you know what? When God's hands was on it, it was moving. And that's just what's with us today. She didn't know who I was, but I knew her. Be careful how you stand. Be careful when you decide to go over to the left. Make sure nobody sees you because you should have went to the right. But today, I want to tell you about Curtis Martin. Curtis Martin was brought up in the rough side of town. He was so amazing in the sense that his daddy left his mother 5 years after they were together. He was born. He left because he had gotten on drugs and he was drinking. And when he left the family, We found ourselves that it was the mother by themselves. You know the latchkey kids? When you have to come home before mom and dad get there, you turn the key and you get into the house and wait for mom and dad to get home. His mother wanted the best for him, though. She sent him to one of the schools of high academics, but he was still in the rough side of town. Curtis made so many outstanding plays and everything. He didn't even start playing football until his senior year of high school. He played basketball one time. But his mom said, you need to stay busy. Right. We're going to put you in some type of intramural sports. Curtis began breaking records because he had the courage to know I could do this. Yeah. But you know what got him most? Kept eating away at his heart? Was his relationship with his father. Amen. He tried everything. He bought his father a car. His father sold the car for drugs. He kept praying, trying to get this relationship restored. But every time he tried, the father let him down. Even when he made it to the Hall of Fame, if you ever want to hear one of the most inspiring speeches, please listen to his. He stood up and he stated that it was he and his mother. Out of all the people in his life, it was the two of them. But he watched his mother when she was in a relationship with his father. He would beat her every time you turn around and then take his cigarette butts and burn her on the leg, and said to this day, she still has those scars. And he stated that in the midst of it all, my mom continued to work 2 jobs and continued to make sure I had. But she had to have the courage one day to decide to leave him.
All right.
Curtis had asked his dad to meet him. Even after all that, I want to take you to dinner and go to a movie. His dad responded to him and said, you know, that money you're going to give me for the movie and for the dinner, just give it to me. And he never showed up. His heart was beating and his heart was confused. And we talk about emotional, we talk about physical, we talk about moral courage. All 3 of these was embodied in his spirit. But something happened. After he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, he and his mom was driving. They saw his dad on the corner at a bus stop. He said, Mom, you know my dad, let's pick up Dad. She said, you must be out of your mind. He said, Mama, think about if that was you. What would you want to do? The mother looked at him, she turned around and picked up the father. When she picked him up, she realized that it was the right thing to do. When she got him home and she drove away, she told her son that she felt like there was a heavy weight that she left behind. In our lives, we carry anger, we carry experiences that shackle us. And when they shackle us, that become a part of who we are. You have to have the courage to lay aside those weights. Have the courage to move forward. I needed courage when I came here. Courage in realizing that I had to stop trying to preach what I thought you wanted to hear. And preach what God wanted. I had to find the element where I am and who I am. For whose I am. Once that started turning the key, that emotional fear was gone. It became emotional courage. That moral fear. Knowing what to do, what is right. And God telling me, boy, you're going to listen to me one way or another. That became moral courage. That physical people stacked on top of each other. Seeing people out here watching facial expressions. God said, you're going to learn that you're preaching to me and your children are receiving the word the way they need to receive it. That song says if I could just touch one somebody, my living won't be in vain.
Don't you see?
But I want to take you somewhere today. What courage do you need in this? Do you need to get back up in the choir singing again? And God is speaking to you and you just playing with it, say, I know, but it's going to take me time. Do you want to be one of these deacons you said one day I want to stand with them? Or you see those mothers and you say, I like the women in white on 2nd Sunday. Or one of these ushers that stand boldly. One day you'll be like Deacon Smith all the way in the back, running things back there, and get a chance to look up and cheese every once in a while. Thanking God for being in his house. But I want to ask you something today. Any of y'all East, are you ready for where God is getting ready to take us? Any of y'all East, are you ready to start walking in faith and not by sight? I want to tell you about an individual.
All right now.
Who came into this world with no emotion, no more, or no physical fear. I want to tell you about this man who has the promised plan. I want to tell you about the man that will embrace you even in the times of your trouble. I want to tell you about the man even when your body is aching. God is still making and breaking. I want to tell you about this man saying, God, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I want to tell you about this man that said, come to me as you are. He said, if you're heavy laden, he said, I'll give you rest. I want to tell you about this man who will strike out all your fears. He will stop the devil every time. I want to tell you about this man who will rock you in his arms and tell you you belong to me. I want to tell you about this man. Say, I came from Galilee. I want to tell you about this man who will turn your situation around, and the next thing you know, you'll be praising all over there. I want to tell you about this man who said that I will be with you always, even until the end of the world. I want to tell you about this man that has told us, courage, be of good courage. I want to tell you about this man that tells us, only thing you got to do is believe in me. I want to talk to you about this man. When he had the courage to know, I'm going to go from hall to hall. I'm going to be spit on. I'm going to be talked about. I'm going to be used and abused. But then he think about the courage, what I do for my children. Let it be known that God is working it out for you. Let it be known that God is using you. Let it be known you cannot walk in fear. Let it be known that that day is over. This is a new day. Let it be known that God's hands is reaching out to you. Are you shielded up? Do you have your helmet on? Do you have your breastplate on? What about your sandals? What about your shield and your sword? It doesn't matter what age you are. It's just the fact that you can love Jesus. Give whatever you have to God all by yourself. Today is a good day. But then I think about it, they took him from hall to hall. And even during this time, when the blood of Jesus is being remembered on this communion Sunday, we realize that he gave, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. We realize that he is working in you, he is working out of you, and he's working for you. So right now, we just want God to know that we love him. We want God to know that we have courage, that he is going to see us through. But then, that just wasn't enough. They had to take him to the cross. That was the physical fear that we would have. But with him, that was the physical courage thorns and placed it on his head. Not only is that physical fear, that is emotional fear. Is it going to hurt? Why am I putting this on? But he's putting it on for us. But then they put the nail. And then they start laying him on the cross. Again, that's the physical fear. But for Jesus, that was the physical courage. Our God is working for us. They nailed him to the cross. All that hear the pain just going as they nailed him. But then that wasn't enough. They had to sit him up. They pierced him in the side. Blood and water come running out. Then they take him down and try to disgrace him by putting him in a borrowed tomb. But early one morning, Friday night, Saturday night, then Sunday, he rose. They were looking for him. But see, Jesus knew all the time that our God is able. Jesus knew all the time we had to keep courage. Jesus knew all the time that Satan had to be stumped. So whatever you're going through. I think about Brother Isaac Watson. When he talked about at the cross. He said at the cross.